Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crossover Podcast. My name is David Shynock. Happy holidays. I know I was planning on releasing an episode on Thursday. I didn't. I released a TFT video, but I think I'm finally at the place where I can do one Crossover Podcast a week now that I know how to record everything else. So I'm going to make these a little bit longer and talk about a little bit more. That way Thursday can be dedicated to TFT videos and then the special project that I have coming whenever the time comes for LCS. So that'll be its own individual thing. I finally feel like I got a decent setup to record everything now. I'm at the space that I work at during the day, which is in my mom's office. I have my computer on the left side that if I need to look anything up, I can. Everything's kind of shot one take, so there's no editing because everything's on mobile. But yeah, it's just a naturally fun time doing this. There's been, a lot has happened over the last week. Most notably, I've been playing a lot of TFT for two reasons. One, it's easiest to play because it's on my phone. I can play it anywhere. I can do anything. Whenever I'm not playing League of Legends, and Call of Duty still doesn't have rank play. It's a fun game to play, but I will say it has been incredibly frustrating due to my own limitations, because when I've been playing recently, I'm now my middle skill level is Plat 1. Generally speaking, I've dropped down to Plat 3 once or twice, which actually, let me pull up the LOL chess page that can specifically say where I'm at in terms of TFT, because I just played a game earlier this morning, finished 7th and dropped down I believe the 0 LP of Plat 1 again. Yeah, I need to renew that. So yeah, I'm Plat 1 and I've been hovering Plat 1 for about 2 days now. They're about like 12 to 13 games right around. I'm doing a better job of recognizing the issues that I have after each game, and I feel like I'm somewhat correcting them, but it's still been a struggle. So the two people that I follow primarily, well, three technically, I like to watch Bryce Blum's Twitter because he's very good at poker, and TFT has a lot of similar elements to poker in terms of risk taking, knowing when to roll, when not to roll, because there is a certain element of randomness to this, even though it is skill based as well. So I enjoy watching him or listening to what he has to say. I enjoy watching him as well. Bunny Muffins is the YouTube creator that I watch 90% of the time for any meta stuff, any guide stuff like that. But I also have a tracker app that gives me good comps, etc., that I can go for. But then also Mean Mr. Keen, for the writer for Riot. I think he's High's brother, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a pretty good reference. So historically speaking, I was Plat 4 set 1, Plat 3 set 3, Plat 3 set 3.5, but I did hit Diamond in set 3.5 for like a little bit. That was one of my best achievements I've ever had. I want to get to the point where I'm consistently a Diamond player, but there's a few issues that I need to address. One is I'm getting better. I'm good at reading the board for meta. So obviously I have a pretty good understanding of the meta given the amount that I've played. And I get that, which, by the way, pardon the zit, sorry for the interruption, but I always seem to get one right here, and I know this camera's of pretty good quality, so it's going to be very apparent. Yeah, I always get one here, and it is what it is. It'll go away eventually. I know the good comps, so obviously, in terms of non-legendaries, it's Dusk, it's Dusk and Divine are the two really good comps on their own. The issue is you very rarely get the level 1 chosen unit unless it's Vayne early on for Dusk. So Dusk, you have to transition from something else. In terms of, what was the other one? In terms of Divine, 9 times out of 10 you'll get the level 1 Wukong Divine, which you don't really want to go with. I mean, you can if you need to, but you would prefer it be on the Jax, the Aurelia, literally anybody else. But my issue is I'm good at reading the map. Like the last game that I played, for example, where I finished 7th, okay? I very early on identified that a lot of people on the board were going for we're going for either sharpshooter, we're going for divine, or we're going for elderwood. Which, looking at the placement now, 3 out of 4 people in the top had elderwood in their comp in some capacity. So I was going. I got a few units of Warlord, which I've been really enjoying the Warlord comp whenever you can get the Chosen for it. But I didn't have the Chosen, and I wasn't hitting any consistent items. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold out because realistically, Dusk is Dusk Shade or Dusk Vein was actually completely open. And I could have went for it if I wanted to, but I kept holding off and kept waiting. And other Chosen units came up that I could have restructured my comp, and I kept trying to hold out for that right one. And I know that goes against what me and Mr. Keen said, where you can't be too picky with your Chosen units. You need to accept what you get fairly early on, unless you hit some really good items early, and then you can wait to go from there. But by then, your items are a little bit more solidified. It becomes a little bit more tough. And that's my biggest problem is knowing. I don't want to say I get scared of confrontation because even though I do in real life, I don't like battling against other people to finish a comp. It seems like I always lose out on it, whether that's due to lack of my own skill or something. It just seems like I can never get that risk versus reward dial going. So I ended up playing Warlords until I started faltering, to which I tried to swap over to Legendaries, which it went horribly. And I finished 7th, dropped out at 5-3. I needed to last 4 more rounds to even finish 5 more rounds to finish in the top 4. And I was never going to be able to do that. And that's my issue is I finished, of my finishes lately, it just seems like I'm consistently inconsistent. So I'll win one, and then I'll go 5th place and 7th place and negate that. And then I'll win another one and do the same thing. It's one game I will play it perfectly because I get a decent early Chosen unit. I know how to play the role. The games that I've won, I won with Duelist, which I'm fairly competent at. Warlord, which I'm fairly competent at. And then, what was the other one that I won at? I finished top 3 with Legendaries, but Legendaries kind of is what it is. And then the other one was a Vigar Shade comp. It was a little interesting, but I'm getting better at identifying what I'm doing wrong. But because everything changes on a game by game basis, it still feels like I'm not making any progress. And I know I just need to keep working on it, and eventually I'll break through that threshold. My economy is decent. I'm not going to say that it's great. I don't always know when to roll and when not to roll, which is part of the issue. Comps wise, I have a fairly good read on the comps I know. Reading the board for other people, I feel like I'm decently good at that. The issue comes more when it's challenging one-on-one, but that is what it is. I've just been enjoying TFT while I'm not playing League and not doing other things. It's been fairly relaxing and fairly nice for Christmas, which, speaking of Christmas, I do want to give a shout out to Emily. She bought me a beautiful black Citizens watch, which I have now gold, silver, and black, which are great for work. Unfortunately, we obviously haven't been going into the office, which sucks. But she got me that. She got me a bunch of clothes. I got the 100 Thieves long sleeve shirt, which I'll probably put a video out on TikTok or something about. And then one thing that work actually gave me, which is quite frankly one of my favorite gifts, is actually that's upside down. But it's a Peloton blanket, which I absolutely love, and the dogs have been loving too. They lay all over this blanket whenever it's available, literally all the time. In terms of my gift for her, and I'll have a TikTok going out on this as well, I wanted to get Emily something that was functional, somewhat gamer, because it feels like anything else I get her would kind of be irrelevant, but I still got her a necklace with her birthstone in it and everything there. So there's the sentimental romantic gift there. But I also wanted something where she's been playing a lot of games because she's laid off of work. Probably is not going to be coming back for an extended period of time. And she deserved to fully enjoy that. And she's been really enjoying Animal Crossing New Horizons. So the one thing that I got her, she does not have a carrying case for her Switch. So they actually released a limited edition, little, I guess it's like a little money bag symbol in the game. I got her a limited edition, kind of smaller bag that also works as a carrying case. It's really cute, quote unquote. And she actually posted it on Facebook, I think, to her Animal Crossing groups that has like 400 or 500 likes on the post. Like, apparently, I guess I did good. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but I guess I did a decent job of it, which I'm happy about. It's like one of those things that you could like wear, like say she goes to like an Animal Crossing meetup in the city or something like that. It would work really well for her to just carry her Switch, carry anything in the bag. It's not like a full size backpack. It's like a little bit bigger than the size of this laptop, but that's about it. But no, it was pretty nice. In terms of post Christmas, if there's any sales going on, I'm not taking advantage of anything. There's nothing I really need. The reality is we need to make sure our financial situation at home is a little bit more comfortable with everything going on with unemployment, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, Christmas was really enjoyable. We moved my grandparents or my grandma to a new apartment. Emily's been dealing with her own stuff for the most part. So yeah, we're leading into the new year, which next week I'm going to focus on New Year's resolutions. I believe I might have to work on Sunday of next week because next week starts December month close, which is very important in the fiscal world. So I have to probably record the podcast on Saturday the 2nd, and I want to make that the New Year's Eve episode that talks about everything there. So I finished GTA. So I mentioned a few weeks ago that I started playing GTA because my friend Lee got it and we do the PlayStation home share thing. And I was really enjoying the game. Like, I was playing GTA more than TFT for a while until I got done with GTA. Then I started playing more TFT. But I made the mistake thinking that the game was longer than it was, which I don't know why I thought or expect. I didn't think I put as much time into the game as I did. So it gives you the option to kill Michael, kill Trevor, or do the option where it turns out everybody lives. But I didn't know that. I legitimately thought it was kill Michael, kill Trevor, kill Franklin. Like, I thought Franklin would die in the third one. And I made the mistake of killing Trevor, not knowing that they all could live, and that made me really upset. So now I have to go back and do that. I honestly don't even think I will. Like, I enjoy the game, but I don't enjoy GTA that much to go back and redo it. I'm not that type of gamer. I play things for the storyline, and then once the storyline's done, I'm moving on to the next thing. Which, speaking of that, the YouTube channel that I watch is actually doing their finale episode of Legend of Korra Season 1, which I need to watch. But that brings me to the point where I wrapped up GTA, and I have not touched my PlayStation since. I don't know why I do this, but every time I hit a major milestone or goal or something I want to do, I take a pretty lengthy break from whatever I'm doing. And like, even for example, like, I'm done with GTA, I'm not going to play Call of Duty. No, I just take a break from PS4 in general. I've always done that. And I'm glad that I do it because it's healthy to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I wish I didn't have it because, like, for example, I know when I hit Diamond for TFT, I'm going to probably take a break for a little bit. Partially because it'll be month close or I'll have other things going on that I can't do it consistently. But I don't know why I do it, which I'm happy that I do to a certain extent. But I would like to see myself continue to push through that threshold, and maybe that'll make me do more things and strive to do more in general. It's kind of like with my work life in general as well, or my work career in general. There seems to be, whenever I hit a milestone, I do the same thing where I take a mental break. And I need to fight through that more of pushing through to the next objective. But I don't do a good enough job, I think, at identifying what my next goal and objective beyond that is. So I get complacent's not the word, but I get stuck in this mind frame of, okay, this task is done. Let me just switch my mind to other things, which, especially in work, is a mind frame that I want to break, and I think I will eventually. I need to find these things that keep me going beyond just the initial goal, which I will eventually find. I don't want to go into too much detail on that because I can get a little bit granular, but nevertheless, that's where that's at there. So I do want to give a special shout out to those that watch sports, especially over the holidays. Some of the memories that you can get from Christmas sports and New Year's Eve sports in general can be fairly boring. But last night, the Miami-Las Vegas Raiders game was one of the most interesting things I've ever seen in my life in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was like a college football game where the defense just stopped working and both teams were scoring like that. And the Miami Dolphins somehow come back to win. And it was just the most improbable Wait, what? Am I reading that Urban Meyer is trending with the Bears? Why? Oh my God. The Bears are looking at Urban Meyer as their head coach, which, for those that don't know, I'm a Florida Gator fan. I have a soft spot in my heart for Urban Meyer, think about this. Urban Meyer was the head coach whenever he had the pastor of Tim Tebow leading the cocaine dealer? I forget what the Pouncey brothers were involved with. But then you had Aaron Hernandez, who was dealing with gang crap. Like, this guy held that ship together somehow for 4 years. And it's like, wow. I wouldn't be surprised to see Urban Meyer go to pro. But at the same time, I don't know if he'll succeed. I think he'll be like a Jim Harbaugh, or is it Jim Harbaugh? I forget which of the Harbaugh. It was the one that was in San Francisco and now is at Michigan. Is it Jim Harbaugh? I think it's Jim Harbaugh. I think he'll be good for a year or two, but the problem with a lot of these college coaches is that they get figured out very easy and they don't develop good schemes for pro. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Sorry. That'd be interesting. On that note as well, a friend of mine, Zebra, which many of you also know, and Zebra, if you're watching this, how's it going? Asked whether the AFC North or the NFC West has the better teams. And I did some thinking about it more, and I do have to say, even though I'm biased towards the AFC North, I think for now it's dead even until after today's games. It was the Steelers versus the Seahawks, and the Steelers are trending downward, so you have to go with the Seahawks no matter what. Both the Ravens and the Browns likely win their matchups against, I think it was the LA Rams and Arizona Cardinals. I think both Cleveland and Baltimore are very underrated in that regard. I think they take that matchup easy. And then Cincinnati playing against San Francisco, I think San Francisco likely wins it unless Cincinnati breaks the legs of like 4 players, which they could do. Anybody that watches the AFC North knows how, not dirty, but how hard-hitting the division is. And the Bengals, even though their record is crap, are arguably the hardest-hitting team in that entire division. Like, they're the team that you are scared to play because they might injure half your team. And that's the issue with the AFC North in general. Look at Pittsburgh, for example. Okay, one, not only did they get screwed by the NFL for their schedule, okay, second, when you have to play that many games in easily the hardest hitting division, I'm not saying the most difficult, but the hardest hitting division in NFL football as a whole, it's impossible when you look at them at 10-0 and say, yeah, they're going to maintain that all the way through. They still had, 3 or 4 divisional games left? They're bound to get hurt. And that's exactly what happened. You combine the division with the schedule that they had where players weren't getting enough rest. They never got their bye week. Like, the Steelers got screwed by the NFL more this season than any team I think I've ever seen in my life. And to anybody that's like, suck it up, deal with it. No, literally no other team has had to deal with this. None. Ever. Like, this is a first in NFL history where you've taken a team and stretched them out this thin over the course of 18 weeks. It's completely unfair to them. And I hope they get healthy so that the playoffs are decent for them. I'm not going to say they win the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs look good at that point. But it sucks to think what could have been had the Steelers been given their proper time. Baltimore should have forfeited the game. It shouldn't have been pushed off because isn't there? I think there's a game this weekend where somebody has to play with like half of their team missing. And then same with the Denver Broncos. They didn't have a quarterback and they were missing a bunch of other players as well, so they had to bring in a fourth string. Yet you let Baltimore push their game off a week and a half. Like, what is that crap? Seriously, like, oh God, I don't want to. That's beyond frustrating. But I do want to end all this on a very positive note. Whoa, nearly kicked the camera. Traveling is one of my favorite things to do and always will be. And one of my favorite travel memories was when our college chorale went to Europe. So we were going to the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and France. We were singing in a bunch of cathedrals across Europe, which we got the chance to sing in the Cologne Cathedral, St. Michael's, and a bunch of others. I think it was La Madeleine. It was one of the most surreal singing experiences that I've ever had. And I would highly recommend if anybody ever gets the chance to do it, please do it. So we were supposed to leave on a Wednesday morning to drive from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Washington Dulles, or Fayetteville, North Carolina to Raleigh. Take a flight from Raleigh to Washington Dulles and then go from Washington Dulles to Amsterdam. We got word 2 or 3 days prior. This was back in like 2015 or 2016, I think. That there was going to be a massive snowstorm hitting us and then hitting the DC area as well. And there was a chance that things could go a little haywire. So we got called to the chorale building for our normal time for choir practice at, I think it was like Tuesday at 5 o'clock. And we show up in the building and the director's like, hey, we have 2 options here. The snow's going to start hitting in about 6 hours. And there's a very realistic chance that we miss our flight from Raleigh to DC and then therefore don't get to go to Europe. We can either risk it and try it, or we can pack all of our shit up now and leave on a bus to drive out to DC in 2 hours. And everybody in their mind was kind of panicking a little bit because we're college kids. Nobody packs that far in advance. Everybody was freaking out, but I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this is perfect. And we all voted because we were all there, including the president of the university who was coming with us. And we said, yeah, we're going to go now. We're going to get on the bus. We have to pick people up in Cary and then drive all the way up to Washington and go from there. Thank God we did. Otherwise, we would have missed the flight from Raleigh. It ended up getting canceled. So they say, okay, go pack your stuff. That was one of the best packing experiences I've ever had and one of the best traveling experiences, because the worst part about traveling is having to wait that overnight sleep, knowing that you're leaving the next day. To have that taken away and know that you're leaving for vacation, even though you're just riding on a bus, right then and there was absolutely incredible. So we go back, we pack up all our stuff. For guys, we have tuxes for our things, and then you have casual wear because you always have to wear darker clothes from what they told us, et cetera, et cetera. For the girls, it was their gowns and then all their casual clothes as well. So we pack up, we get in the bus, we go out there. We wake up the next morning in DC and there's 2 feet of snow everywhere. And my wife is terrified because she had never flown before and we're flying for the first time in snow to go to Amsterdam. So obviously they spray off the plane, but we flew to Amsterdam. Everything was perfect when it was all said and done. The one thing that I remember now, looking back on it, is had we not had chorale at 5 o'clock that day, I don't know if we would have made it over there. Because on days where there's not chorale, everybody kind of spreads. I mean, there's 50 some people in the choir across the university and across the town. Certain people go home, certain people travel and do other things. To get the message out, to get everybody back home to pack and leave, would have been next to impossible. We got incredibly lucky that we were all meeting at 5 o'clock on that day right before we left. That worked out so well. Had we left on, say, a Thursday and we had that Wednesday gap, some people could have gotten left behind. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, it ended up being an incredible trip. I would 100% go back to Europe, but I'd want to go to Italy or Ireland next, because now that I've already done some countries in Europe, I don't necessarily want to repeat those same countries just yet. Which I do also want to say this. One thing Americans don't understand fully about Europe is that I feel like a lot of us, including myself, think that when you go from one country to another, it's like going between North Carolina and South Carolina, or Pennsylvania and Maryland, where there's some differences, but for the most part, things are majorly still the same. Like your grocery store may change names, but it's still the same thing. It is not like that at all in Europe. Every country is completely different from one another, because not only is there, years of history beyond what the United States has, but it just seems like the cultures are all different. And I absolutely love that about being over in Europe. And if you get the chance, go experience it, because I can't convince people how different it is with words. It's just one of those things that you have to go there and experience it for yourself. Please do. I'm telling you, it's 100% worth it. With that, I don't really think I have anything else to talk about solo. Obviously, this is my last week of work prior to month close, which starts January 3rd, I think. The big things I want to get done this week to keep myself in check. I need to update the LCS social media analytics for the start of the new year, because I'm not going to have time prior to LCS starting to get all that done. This is going out. I need to record a TFT video for Thursday. And yeah, just need to relax and have a good time. I also need to get a few TikToks out. I'm going to be cutting up a little bit of this podcast to get some of that out there as stories, because obviously there's not much going on in the gaming world. And I feel like some of the travel stories might actually do decently well, or at least get 100 views. My goal is always for 100 views on each video. And until gaming content picks up again, it's going to be kind of tough. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a good afternoon or good morning whenever you're listening to this. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you aren't already. Drop a like, leave a comment. What's your favorite place that you've ever traveled to? Favorite Christmas gift? Anything that we talked about today, be sure to leave a comment on. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a good afternoon. Goodbye.